Hi guys, this is Vidisha Vitlani. I hope you have a very good morning as I am. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather today, so in case there is any discrepancies with the voice or in case you don't hear anything, please put your queries in the question answer box. Well, for those who have attended my previous webinars, welcome. And today I have a different topic, and most of you all, when I took up the writing webinar, came up with this query, and that's how I decided to get the whole webinar on this. And most of you all do have an idea of what we're going to do today. So today's webinar is based on what is the exact difference between 6 bands and 8 bands, and especially when it comes to the writing module. Most of us are very scared. Most of us are stuck up with the fact that we will end up with a 6 only. We don't get anything which is beyond 6. So today, right here, we're going to focus on how do we get beyond 6, how do we reach a target score of 8, and how do we manage it, how do we basically what are we supposed to do, what are we not supposed to do. Also, these are a little bit of quick tips, so before you go for the exam you can refer this and go. I think that helps. So basically things that I keep ranting to my students, I'm going to rant to you for 1 more hour. Any which ways, I'll just tell you the format of this webinar, how it's supposed to go and how I'm planning to conduct it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a little bit of overall description, and then we can directly go for your band descriptors, how they are. I mean, we can start with each one of them. And once I'm done with the PPT, at the end, I will solve all your queries. I will take up your question answers. In case you have any queries related to IELTS, please post it in the question answer box. In case you have any queries relating to anything else apart from today's webinar, you can post it in the chat box, even that will be catered to. But please, any queries relating to IELTS or today's webinar, keep posting in the question answer box. I will take care of it at the end. In case there's something that you're not understanding, please raise a hand or please just put it in the question answer box. I'll clarify it. I hope my voice is clear to all of you. I'm trying my level best to do so. Uh, right. Okay. Let's begin. So what we're going to do is I'm going to explain you the band descriptors of our writing module. Now everybody knows the writing module is technically divided into academic and general. And when it comes to academic and general, there's task 1 and task 2. But since this is not a receptive skill, since this is a skill that is based on, it's a subjective part of your IELTS exam, you have to be very careful on how you're attempting it, right? So there are 4 major criteria on which your writing part is assessed, and I wish that you are really good at all of this 4, and you got to target each of the criteria while dealing with the IELTS, because that's what helps you elevate your scores. And especially when you're aiming for an 8, when you're aiming for a 7, I always tell my kids that when you want a 6, 6.5, it's a lot of quantity work. That means you have to practice a lot. But when you're aiming for an 8, when you're aiming for a 7, that's a lot of quality work. You have to be precise, you have to be accurate, you have to be perfect in whatever you do. Your writing has to be flawless. And for this quality work, it is very, very important for all of us to see how the writing band descriptors are judged, how you're actually marked on your writing. So I'll just start with the PPT. I hope you all can see the PPT. Right. Okay. Now, so this is going to be on how do we actually have to differentiate between 6 and 8 bands, and especially this is the writing band. So now let's see the basic 4 descriptors on the first 4. So there are basic 4 descriptors. The first is task achievement. That means how well you answer the question. Basically, what's a task achievement? For example, today your task is to listen to me for 1 hour. And once you're done with that, that's what you've achieved, right? So that's in simple English, I would like to tell you. Okay, the second one is coherence and cohesiveness. Now, what is coherence and cohesion? Coherence and cohesiveness is nothing but how well is the idea form, how well have you logically written it, have you used words which are necessary. Next, coming on to lexical resource. Lexical resource is nothing but a wide range of vocabulary. Now, this is often misinterpreted. A lot of people believe that if they write extreme hi-fi words, extreme reality level words, they're going to do really, really well with it. But honestly speaking, no, that's not the scenario. You will not be marked on how, hi-fi or fancy your vocab is, but rather I would say that the more simple words, but the wider range of words that you use is something that is going to help you gain a lot more marks, right? Coming on to the grammatical range and accuracy, grammatical range is naturally how amazing your grammar is, how flawless it is, how lovely have you actually written it, and how have you used a wide variety of statements and all. So now what we're going to do throughout this session is I'm going to take you through each one of them in detail, and I'll just tell you how you mark it. Let's say your writing is for 9 bands, so you'll be given, like, you've written a topic, and I'll just check how much can the student get on task achievement. Let's say if I'm marking you 6 here, I'm giving you 7 for cohesion. I'm giving you use good words, I'll give you 7.5 for that. And let's say your grammar is pathetic, so I'll give you 5. So that's how the average is taken out and you get a 9. So each one of them holds 25% weightage. And please ensure that all of this is perfect. You target each one of them individually, like once you've written your essay, once you're done with your writing task, please check whether you're catering to each of these 4 requirements. Okay, let's go ahead with the task achievement. I'm very sorry for the problems in case there are any in voice. Right. Coming to the task achievement, please, I would request all the students to keep a pen and paper in hand, because these are the points that I'm actually giving you which have a lot of importance. Okay, now let's see this. Now, what is the difference between band 6 and band 7? So as I tell you, let me first explain you in depth what are you supposed to do when it comes to task achievement. When it comes to task achievement, you're supposed to answer what is asked, right? Also, the second thing what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to explain it. Let's say I'm asking you pollution needs to be reduced. Why? So, you have to give justification to it, right? You have to actually answer it and don't just randomly give out vague ideas. You're supposed to explain each one in detail, right? So, now the main difference is between 6 and 8 bands is, read this. Let's go through each of these bullet points for 8 bands. Sufficiently addresses all parts of the task, presents a well-developed response to the question with relevant, supported, and extended ideas. This simply means that the student has explained whatever he's written. Let's say I am writing the pollution is increasing day by day. This is due to increase in population, increase in industrialization, increase in modernization, which is due to the technological developments. I am giving a well answer. I'm giving a properly developed answer. At the same time, let's say if I had an example, I'm putting in relevant examples. Now see, what's the difference between band 6? Addresses all parts of the task, although some parts may be fully covered more than others. So here you're giving random ideas. Let's say I have 2 points to discuss, I'll give more weightage to 1 point, I'll give less weightage to the second point, right? Okay, now presents a relevant proposition, although the conclusions may be clear and repetitive. So a lot of people have this habit, they keep on, conclusion is very unclear. Let's say you're writing a conclusion. So most of them, a lot of students come to me, how do we write the conclusion? How do we write the conclusion? So first of all, don't preach in your conclusion. Don't say it is the responsibility of both you and me to, make the world a better place. Absolutely no preaching in the conclusions. What you're supposed to generally do is reaffirm. Let's say, in my opinion, I have simply said that yes, it is very important to control the population in order to cut down the pollution. Let's say I want to reaffirm it. Don't give a biased opinion in the conclusion just because it's the end, right? So please be very carefully. Now see, what's the third point? Presents relevant main ideas. That means obviously for a 6 also you have to write on point. But some of them may be inadequately developed or unclear. So let's say I'm saying the population increase is due to something and I have not explained it. That means my idea is very generalized. So please, when you write your essay, don't be generalized, be point specific. So that's why if you see my previous webinars when I was explaining you the format of writing, I've given you this technique. Write 2 points, pick up 2 points, take one point, explain one point, take the other point, explain the other point. So that's what my technique is, and it really works. Okay, moving ahead. I'll give you an example of this. Now, see, more and more people nowadays have to compete with younger people for the same job. Okay, this is the assertion, this is the question. Now, what's the problem? What problems does this cause? What are some possible solutions? Now, understand this thing. Your what is my answer supposed to be? My answer supposed to be, I've already had an assertion that it is there's a lot of competition with younger people for the same job. What problems does this cause? And so, what are the consequences of this? And what are the possible solutions? So what can be done for this? Now, what most of the students do, sometimes you don't read the question properly. You're just writing anything randomly. So what happens is you'll get carried away and you'll write the causes of it. Why people have to compete. So then you're like, young people are now smart. Young people are now, they have more knowledge of technology. I've given this, and this is a practical situation that I have dealt with, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. So they actually come up with things like, okay, young people know more about technology. The young people are better at work. Then they have more energy. That's why people have to compete. But my question is not why people have to compete. I'm simply asking you, I've already given you the assertion that people have to compete. So my question here is, what are the problems due to this? And my question here is, what can be done about this? So please be very careful with this thing. So now see, what happens with 6 and 7, give relevant ideas, but not be fully developed with explanations or examples. So these explanations and examples given are irrelevant. Let's say if I'm giving you an explanation for what or why is this phenomenon happening, that is irrelevant. So my task response rate going to get very low. When you go to see an 8, give relevant ideas, and these are focused, and there are specific ideas to this, and thus I've given you relevant examples. So please be very careful with task accomplishment. I'm sorry, this entire session, this entire webinar has been, last 2-3 times we've been doing a lot of speaking and writing, which has been quite interesting compared to this. And this is a slightly banal topic when it comes to the writing bit, understanding the descriptors. But please, if you understand how you're marked, it's very easy for you to score good bands. So please bear with me for 1 hour, pay attention. Please keep taking notes of important points. Right. Let's move ahead. Okay. Now, what's about coherence and cohesiveness? This is the easiest to score and the most difficult. Most of the students mess up with coherence and cohesion at once, and so much that I've hardly, seen students getting a 6 or a 5 above in that. But this is very, very easy. Basically, I'll tell you, if you maintain the sequence and if you write the linking words, you're done with coherence and cohesiveness. You don't have to do anything more. Okay, now see, what happens when you get a band 6 here? You arrange the information and ideas coherently, there is progression. That means if you're writing in a sequence, then only you'll get a 6. If you don't write with sequence, like you don't write body 1, you don't write body 2, you don't write body, like general sequence that I tend to follow is introduction, body 1, body 2, conclusion. Whatever the thing is, I try to synchronize it in 4 paragraphs, works the best for me. So what happens is, if you're writing in sequence, then so you get a 6. Don't be very overconfident that, okay, you've written 4 paragraphs, so, you might just land up with a 7 or an 8, but no, that's not the case. Okay, when you also see the student here has used cohesive devices. In my previous webinar, I've given you a list of cohesive devices. Most of you all also might know what cohesive devices are. Like, firstly, secondly, moreover, to commence with, additionally, nonetheless, nevertheless, however, despite. So basically, the linking words are nothing but cohesive devices. But what happens when you use these cohesive devices, and why do you land up getting a 6 is, cohesion within and between the sentence is going to be faulty or mechanical. Now, what do you mean by faulty or mechanical? Let's say I want to add a point, but I've written however. So that's faulty use of cohesive devices. Am I going too fast? Hopefully not. Okay. So that's faulty use of mechanical devices. But if you use, and mechanical is something that, you know, a lot of students and we as trainers are very tempted to give you all templates about things that, okay, you know, just fill in the blank. But please, when you use these templates, uh, paper checkers, examiners are very smart. They actually come to know that you've used templates. So please avoid the use of mechanical devices, avoid the use of templates. Okay, uses paraphrasing, but not always logically. Let's say your opinion has to be in the first paragraph, the contradiction has to be in the second body paragraph, conclusion, you're reaffirming, introduction, you're giving your opinion. So it's again very important. Now let's say why what happens band 8. Band 8 is sequences information and ideas logically. Again, this proper sequence is going to be introduction, where in case you're asked your opinion, you're actually giving importance to it and you're writing your opinion. Then comes body 1, where you're justifying your opinion, you're answering why. Body 2 is going to be about your contradiction, and then comes a conclusion where you're reaffirming your opinion. Okay, uses paragraphing sufficiently and appropriately. You're not making too many paragraphs, you're not avoiding paragraphs. Paragraphs has to be as per as the points. Manages all aspects of cohesion. Well, what is managing all the aspects of cohesion? Managing all the aspects of cohesion is nothing but when you use your linking words appropriately on time. So, you know, I tell my students, please do not make use of excessive linking words. Let's say you start with a linking word, you have to add on a point, you put it. So each paragraph will have 2 to 3, not more than that. So please don't have a habit of, you know, one sentence complete adding a linking word, second sentence complete adding a linking word, third sentence complete adding a linking word. Please, it does not work that way. Neither you're supposed to do it that way. So please be very careful when it comes to uh, this thing. Please avoid excessive use, avoid mugging up things. Understand each word, you know, these words are very simple, like additionally, moreover, however, they're not difficult words that you learn by heart, or, you know, you have to mug up, or, you know, you have to stress on using them. So have some logic, have some, you know, have balance, and then make sure you're using it. Like I'm putting a contradiction. I have to write however, or despite, of, or in contrary, you know, something like that. So please be very careful. This is very simple. You can score amazingly well with this. Remember two things when it comes to cohesion and cohesiveness. Please make a list. First, use your paragraphing. 4 paragraphs. Intro, body 1, body 2, conclusion. Second, you're using linking words. That's it. If you manage these two, your coherence and cohesiveness is sorted. You can trust me on this. You can get a list of linking words in my previous webinars, or even you can even like Google it. You'll find it anywhere. It's widely available. Okay. Now see, just let's keep a little bit of track on this. See, what again I've explained you this, I'll just explain it to you again. See, band 6 answers tend to use linking phrases, but the use is not always appropriate, or there's too much of repetition. So this means the same logic. Try to vary your phrases by using synonyms. So you would actually additionally, moreover, you're using those points. Band 8 makes no mistake. They are accurately, and there is no overuse. No overuse. Please take a star and write down in your notebook. Do not overuse your cohesive devices. You're not supposed to use each device at the end of statements. I know I'm shouting on this and I'm ranting about it, but honestly saying, I have checked a lot of papers which had this. And like it's the most easiest thing where you can score, and you know you're messing up with something like that. So that doesn't make any sense to me as such. So please be very careful. Okay, these are the key points. Structure your answers in logical paragraphs. Logical paragraphs for introduction, body 1, body 2, conclusion. One main idea per paragraph. This can vary to 2. Let's say I have one main idea which I can elaborate in good statements and then give an example, you sort it. Let's say sometimes we are not able to elaborate it so much. So I pick up 2 ideas. So one idea, 3 sentences, second idea, 3 sentences, plus an example, you're done, you're sorted. Right. Include an introduction and a conclusion, please. Very important. Introduction, you're giving your opinion. Conclusion, you're reaffirming your opinion. Right. Support the main points with an example and with an explanation, then an example. Use cohesive devices. Vary your linking phases using synonyms. So let's say if you're writing moreover, don't keep on writing moreover. So then use moreover, then use additionally, then use furthermore, then use to add on. Vary it. Don't just stick to one word and use it. Can I move ahead? Yes, this is very simple answer. Okay, lexical resource. This is my favorite because I love vocabulary and I love learning new words every single day. And I think you should do this too. But okay, there is one thing when it comes to lexical resource, very important here is to use the correct word at the correct place. Okay. Now see, when coming to lexical resource, you cannot just use words because you know them. So there's this, I'll tell you a very funny example that happened in my class. So flabbergasted. I have a habit of using the word flabbergasted very often. Suddenly there's a student who comes to me, man, I was like, oh, what happened? I'm flabbergasted. I was like, what? Why? What happened to you? And he's like, no, I have cold, I'm flabbergasted. So technically he thought flabbergasted is sick. So please, just because you know a word, just because it sounds good, don't use it. You will score very less. So please, the lexical resource is basically what does resources mean? Basically, lexis is vocab. Resource is the amount of vocab that you know. So lexical resource emphasizes on two things. One, using a wide range of vocabulary. Let's say I want to say important. This is very important. So I'm going to say this is very important. This is very pivotal. This is essential. This is crucial. This is mandatory sometimes if it fits. Right. So that is your lexical resource. You know a wide range of words. For example, one day I'm going to say government, one day I'm going to say official body. So that is your lexical resource. You know plethora of words. Plethora means plenty. Meteor means plenty. So basically, abundant means a lot of things. Variation in words is what we're looking for lexical resource. At the same time, when we're looking for variation, we're looking for accuracy. We want the correct word form. If it's a noun, use it as a noun. If it's a verb, you use it as a verb. If it's a adjective, use it as an adjective, and if it's an adverb, use it as an adverb. So please, when you learn a word, check out all forms of it. This is where a lot of people make mistakes. If you're scoring 8, if you're targeting, take a note of this. Check out all forms of word. Okay, so for example, if a word is a noun, you can use it as a noun, verb, adjective, adverb, what particularly this is. Right? So you have to be a little careful with that also. Also, I would like to tell you one thing which is very important is don't stress over it. So a lot of students have this habit. What they do is they mug up a lot of words, and they're like 50, 100 words they mug up. The moment they sit for the exam, they're so stressed remembering all the words, they won't even write a single one in cup. So don't do that. I know it's not funny. I mean, it's a very practical situation that a lot of students face. So for example, I had this one student who used to write lion's share. So how many essays I have evaluated, he used to mention lion's share because I realized it's okay, he's comfortable with the vocab, let him use it because obviously the examiner is going to check for the first time. I had checked like I don't know how many with the word lion's share in it. So he went in the exam and he's like, I was so stressed. He comes back to me and he tells me that I was so stressed that he couldn't write, he couldn't recall the word line share despite of using it 100 times. Um, so don't do that. Don't get stressed over any vocab. Your simple aim is using commonly used words but with a wider range. So what I suggest is my students to keep 2 words per paragraph which are slightly different. Like let's say plethora is different, needed is different. Such kind of words can be cup by water. Such kind of words that commonly used to 2 words. If you use per paragraph, is sorted with lexical resource. Also make sure they're correct. Don't just use. Okay, now there's one thing called collocation. Collocation is something that holds a lot of importance. Like school of thought is a collocation. Now see, what is collocation? Collocation is nothing but when you use couple words, group words, 2 words together is your collocation. Basically, collocations can be adjectives plus adjectives plus nouns, verbs plus adverbs. These can be your collocations. It dramatically increased is your collocation, right? So, in IELTS, they're looking for phrases, they're looking for collocations. So please, you can have good vocab, you can have good lexical resource if you really want this. Um, so let's see the 6 bands. Uses an educate range of vocabulary. So basically, you know your words, then they give you a 6. Attempts to use less common vocab but with some inaccuracy. Now see, when you're attempting, but let's say it's a verb and you've used as a noun, so that's going to be you get in 6. Makes errors in spellings. Please be very careful with spellings. This is something which is really irritating and really annoying for me is checking spellings, because even there are certain spellings that are used quite repetitively, right? So in such a scenario, what you can do is you can actually learn them by heart. I understand we're all living in the computer era and we all type and there's autocorrect and happens. I know this is a paper-based test, but please, like for example, this faithfully, this sincerely, this faithfully with a double L. So there are typical words that we have to keep on using, very often. So make sure that these are the words that you learned by heart. These are the spellings you know by heart. Like for example, writing. It's given in the question, and still students are like WRITTING. I don't know. I was like, look, it's T. It's like at least basic spellings should be correct. So please, in case you're bad with it, please learn all the spellings by heart. Excuse me. Right. Coming on to band 8. Now, what happens with band 8 is use a wide range of vocabulary fluently and flexibly to convey precise meanings, accurate meanings. Don't do flabbergasted when you're sick. Flabbergasted is shocked. Right. Second is skillfully uses uncommon lexical resource. So that's how two vocab per paragraph. So basically, you're not using too much also, and you know vocab. That's what you're saying. See, collocations are good. So learn few collocations by heart. For example, school of thought is a nice collocation that you can use. Produces rare errors in spelling and word formation. Don't produce rare errors in spelling and word formation. Absolutely no, no. A big no to this. I think this is the best part of IELTS, lexical resource and grammar. So basically, IELTS, as you know, is like a language proficiency exam, and all of us excited, to get our desired score and to just go migrate someplace or the other. But when it comes to IELTS, there's so much of learning got to do. Like imagine, at the end of the test, your English is going to be much better. Your vocab is going to be much stronger. Your grammar is going to be really accurate. And if you attempt to actually crack IELTS like this, I'm 100% sure you'll get it. You know what? Most of the students, I'll just deviate a bit, but listen to this. Um, you know what happens with most of the students, what they do is they're like constantly focused towards writing, writing, writing. With the writing they for samples, they do this, they learn words, and they're constantly practicing. People come, I've finished 10 books, I've finished like 12 books and landing up with a 6.5. But it's a qualitative approach. Take it as a chance to improve your vocab, take it as a chance to improve your grammar, take it as a chance to actually write. I mean, I'm very sure those appearing for the exam have never written an essay like this any time before. Hardly few of us are innate good writers. So take it as an opportunity to improve it. Like imagine going for speaking, you're actually going for an interview, you're going to have a conversation. So the more positively you approach this, the more holistic approach you adopt is something that's going to really help you, because when it comes to IELTS, it's a language proficiency exam. So if you know your language well, you're going to do naturally very good at this. So please, please be very attentive, very focused towards solving it, but at the same time, learn things. Don't just learn things for the sake of your exam and then just, this is no university exam. You're just going to take things and puke it out on the paper and then you're done. No, this is not mechanical engineering. This is my IELTS where you're learning language properly. Sorry for giving you a particular example, but yeah, that's what a few students, they had to come. I mean, I've got this from the students only, that we have to, mug up all the formulas and all, and suddenly, since the technology changes, then it's no use. So I didn't mean to debase a particular segment of this of your studies. I know you have worked really hard for it, but then, so please approach IELTS with a particular positive note. Right. Okay. Band 6 answers attempts to use the less common words, but there is some inaccuracy. So again, you're using less common words when you get a 6. And there are some errors with word formation and spellings. Right. Band 8 answers have few spellings errors, but please no spelling errors. And there's very little repetition of words. A lexical resource key points, try to vary your vocabulary, so different vocabulary. Keep this rule, again, please write it, please mention in your notebooks, 2 vocab per paragraph. Simple. One collocation, one phrase, try getting on through them. Check your work spelling and word formation, please. That is very, very important. Right, coming on to grammatical range and accuracy. Now, most of the people, I come across essays, and most of them are very good with grammar because hardly few accuracies that I spot at times. But what happens is Although your grammar being correct, although you're really good at it, you'll end up with a 6. Now, why is this? Why is this particular phenomena happening? So this particular thing happens because of the word called grammatical range. Now, what is grammatical range here? Grammatical range is nothing but when you're not adopting a variety of statements, when things are monotonous. Like, for example, I'm writing simple statements, I'm writing only simple statements, or I'm writing compound statements. So, grammatical range is basically when you're adopting the wide range of sentence structures, when you're actually coming out through, it's not monotony, it's not only simple statements. So that's what grammatical range is. Grammatical accuracy is that you're not creating any errors. Now, most of the errors that I see with students are those minor errors like punctuations, and there are uh, true, then there is, subject verb agreement related error, and then there is a lot of errors related to nouns and pronouns. Like, for example, you're talking about boy and suddenly he's they. It's singular, so it can't be they, it has to be he. So, I mean, I'm sure this is not because of your conceptual understanding, but this is more because of stress and, you're pressurized. Basically, what happens is your writing module is a third part. Like, you're done with listening, you're done with reading, and then suddenly you have to do writing. So, obviously, it's a lot of pressure on the head, and I know you just want to get done and run away from that exam hall. I totally sympathize, empathize with you. But since it's the last bit, let's do it properly and then leave so that you don't have to come back there again. Right. And so basically, I'm very sure you're very grammatically accurate. But these are the minor errors that we end up doing. Like, for example, I'm talking about population. I talks about call it they. Then there is s, like he talks. Ke badle he, rather than he talks, it becomes like he talk or talked, whatever. So you're using incorrect word forms or something. So please don't do that. I believe it's um not very, it shouldn't be like that. So you have to have grammatical range, at the same time you have to have grammatical accuracy as well. So let's see the difference between band 6 and band 7 for grammatical range. Take a note of these points. What are you supposed to study? I'll just give you a list of this. Study simple sentence, compound sentence, complex statements, passive, interrogative. Interrogative you can avoid if you want to, but at least these four, pay attention to refer all these four: simple, compound, complex, passive. So you're adding, variety to it. Now for grammatical accuracy, if you really want to do good, take a list of points that you need to be careful with. Articles, number one. Number two, punctuation. Okay, number one is article, number two is punctuation, number three, subject verb agreement. Subject verb agreement. Number four is noun pronoun agreement. Simply he, she, that's it. Very simple, nothing new detailing. Fifth is tenses. Need to be very, tenses right, correct, right? If you're talking about something relating to present, you will talk about something relating to the current scenario. If you're talking about something, past tense is going to be in the past form, right? So you have to be very careful with this. We have had a grammar webinar also. It's previously uploaded. In case you want to just refer and go through it, you can. I've also had a writing webinar, especially for academic in general, differentiating between the letters and the graph. They're two separate webinars, so you can have a look through that as well. And then you can refer this. This makes more sense later on. We've had this writing whole format also, so you can go through all of these. So let's just see the difference between 6 and 7 bands. The difference between 6 band is uses a mix of sentence, simple, complex forms. So basically, but you're not having a wide range of structures. So see, let's go to the 8 band. It uses a wide range of structures and majority of the sentences are error-free, so you're grammatically very accurate here. Now, coming on to band 6, make some errors in grammar and punctuation, but they rarely reduce communication. So basically, whenever you have errors, you're going to land up with a 6. Remember this. No, few errors are obviously allowed. Just kidding. But please attempt to write a flawless essay. When I read essays and the students asking me how to reach a 7, why aren't you giving us a 7, why aren't you marking us a 7? I always tell them that, for a 7, I want your essay flawless. Absolutely a treat to your eyes. The essay should be right. Makes only occasional errors and error process, no errors. Again, the no error rules. So, whenever you're doing the band descriptors, keep all these band descriptors in head. So, this is the last one. Keep all these band descriptors in head because I'll tell you, and go for the 8th one. Because if you're writing an essay according to an 8, you're going to get a 7. This is a very simple rule that applies to me as well. So I've done this and it worked really well. Please excuse me. I'm extremely sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. Now, look at this. Band 6 answers use a rare mix of simple and complex statements, but then there are frequent errors. Okay. Majority of the statements have errors, but these errors stop. Basically what happens is that even though your errors are there, the examiner is able to make sense of what you've written. So whenever the examiner is able to make sense of what you've written and you've got a 6, that means you've made errors. Right? Now see, band 8 has a wide range of appropriate structures. Most of the sentences are completely error-free. So there are absolutely no errors when it comes to this. And plus you have simple, compound, complex, passive, interrogative also. You can use the interrogative as a rhetorical question in the introduction bit. That really works. It looks good also, quite fancy. Then your write-up becomes right. Grammatical range, key points. Now variety of simple and complex structures, complex. Use variety of appropriate structures, check writing, fair errors, don't make errors. So I'll tell you a very simple thing when it comes, how do you manage this? So you write one paragraph. Let's say I've written the introduction. So check what new vocab I have. Have I made any errors? Are the punctuations okay? Are the capital letters at the perfect place? And you're done. So check and count the words so that you know you don't go beyond the word limit, because task accomplishment also requires your minimum range of words. So please be very careful with this. So I think this one paragraph check rule plays a very important thing. So I've just summed up the entire webinar with few key strategies, and you can have a look at them. The first thing that we do is we read the question. We read the question why? Because we need to accomplish our task. Rather, I say read the question thrice, divide the question, then write it. It's very simple. Right. Second, read what you've written, go back and read the paragraph. So please, that one paragraph check rule is here. Be clear. Whatever you write it in such a way that the examiner is able to understand. No, you know what happened? One of my students was innately a good writer. Amazing. She was a content writer by herself, and she comes up with beautiful piece of uh, essay to me. And suddenly I realized this one thing. I could scrape through it, but because her thoughts were so vague and her style of writing was also very vague, it turned out to be very unclear, and it doesn't score good marks. So please make sure that you're doing something where you're writing very clearly. So when I was teaching you cohesive devices, I was telling you about this one thing. You take one idea, you explain the idea, you take another idea, you explain another idea. So that is about clarity, show clarity. Also, when you give your opinion in the first paragraph, you're emphasizing clarity. Let's say I say, I agree that the population should be controlled. So here I have clearly stated my idea. So, when the examiner is going through my essay, the examiner has this impact that the student has understood the question, the student is writing, the student has a clear opinion of what it is. The opinion is explicitly mentioned. Write about what you know. Yes, please don't get too carried away, don't bluff, right? Actually, especially this happens with examples. I don't know why students have, when you're writing hypothetical examples, at least mention examples which are digestible. Don't write too many words, 250 words, max go till 280 to 90. 150 words per task one, go till 180 again. Don't keep on writing a lot, because once you write a lot, I can, like, the more you write, the more mistakes I can get. Second thing, you're going to lack on time when you do this. And third thing, you might just go out of focus. And when you go out of focus, your task achievement and your question will not be achieved. Right. Follow your standard structure. I missed out on the fifth point. So it's going to be introduction, body one, body two, conclusion. Choose your writing style. So writing style is basically your handwriting also. Don't learn model answers by heart. Use of mechanical devices should be not allowed. Don't branch off, please. Don't get carried away by the topic, however your favorite topic it is. Write clearly and coherently. Okay, there are a few penalties, I'll just tell you. First, if you're redundant in the sense you make too many use of unnecessary words. That's called redundancy. So once you're redundant, that becomes like it has a penalty. Second thing, also if your answers are mugged up or plagiarism is not allowed, absolutely. Legibility plays a very important role. Now see, legibility in the sense your handwriting plays a very important role. Each word has to be clearly understood by the examiner. They are not going to take any pains to actually understand what is written. So please make sure handwriting is clear. Okay, I'm done with this actually. the PPT. I hope all 4 points are clear. So 4 points again are repeated for you. Task accomplishment, 250 words, 150 words. You're answering whatever you're asked. You're also giving proper explanations. Second thing is coherence and cohesive devices. What is coherence and what is cohesive devices? You're following the structure and using linking words. Third is lexical resource. Correct word at the correct place. At the same time, you're going for a wide range of vocabulary. The fourth point coming to is grammatical range and accuracy. Please focus on grammatical range. Also grammatical accuracy, two different points. Grammatical range is something where you're using a wide range of structures. Accuracy is you're, accurate. Right. I'll answer. Also, you have a lot of penalties. Uh, you have penalties on like legibility. You have penalty when you've marked up the answers or when you've actually written something that is not readable. So that's how you get your penalties. Okay, let's take question and answers. I'll answer all your queries now. So please put your question answers in the Dropbox. So how much of a role does handwriting play in this course? Very important handwriting is in this course. As I mentioned, legibility is very important. That if they don't understand anything, they're not going to take effort to read it. Any other queries that you have? I hope whatever I explained was clear to all of you and everybody got the nick of it. Everybody understood how it went through. So anybody has any other queries? Okay, the standard structure. So a lot of people ask me that is it important to give the opinion in the first paragraph? I generally say that it is very important to give your opinion in the first paragraph because when you give the opinion in the first paragraph, you're showing your clarity of mind. You're showing the examiner that you've understood the question. You're showing the examiner that you know what you're going to write. Also, the examiner knows what to expect out of your write-up. So it's very important to show clarity. It's equally important. The last thing, conclusion. Also, you reaffirm your opinion. Don't give a very biased conclusion. Keep this in mind. It's very important. You're not supposed to give a biased conclusion. You're supposed to actually give a very, you're reaffirming your conclusion. That's exactly what is required. Right. Any other queries? Put your queries in the question answer box, not in the chat box. All right. Just a brief about simple, compound, and complex statements. Somebody just asked what's the basic difference. I'll just explain you in short what's the basic difference. Of course, please go home and refer this particular topic. But since you've asked, I would like to answer this in short for you. Um, Simple statements are nothing but statements that give that gives an idea to one subject. You're answering one particular topic here. Compound is you're giving two ideas and you're explaining it with the help of again linking words. Complex is two or more ideas with that's going to be one independent clause and one dependent clause. I have one more query. Is it absolutely necessary to use uncommon words to showcase your vocabulary? Yes, it's absolutely necessary. That's why I gave you this particular concept of use at least two uncommon words per paragraph. It really helps. So basically, a lexical resource is the amount of vocabulary you know that you're showing the examiner. And that is why it is absolutely necessary to use uncommon words. A very important trick for doing this is when you're actually learning few words, learn few words that can be repetitively used. For example, there's plethora, there's meteor, there's pivotal. So if you school of thought, so these words are the ones that you keep on using and reusing it. So when you're actually going for the exam, you don't have to really bother about learning them by heart, or you're not really bothering about um, you know learning it and mugging it, and you're not stressed, and nothing like the lion's share that happens with my student happens to you. So yes, that's how it's very important to know certain uncommon words. It makes a lot of difference. And especially, you know what, I have realized is one thing, topic related words really help. Like for example, if I'm talking about job satisfaction, I use words like human resource management teams are doing this and that. Or let's say I'm talking about money, and then I say that money is the biggest motivator, or teamwork plays a very important role. So if I'm using topic related words, they also hold a lot more value. Any other questions? Um, One thing I would like to tell you is when you're actually writing, please check for full stops, please check for commas, please check that there are no letters after the comma. If there is, absolutely done really well. You've not had, I have come across a lot of papers where there are capital letters after the comma and there is no capital letter after the full stop. So please be very, very careful when it comes to capital letters. Anything else that you really need to know? Any queries when it came to the PPT? I can take you back in case you have an issue with that as well. Right, one more very important detail that we miss out is when it comes to IELTS, that is the paper-based test, and most of us don't have this habit of writing with a pencil or we've not written. So, generally I tell my students, I'll just tell how I tell them to practice. I give them this topic, we brainstorm it, I create a rough layout for them, or most of them at the later stage, they do it by themselves. So we create a rough layout, then you write. So I'll just tell you how you divide your time when it comes to your writing bit. What you do is you have 40 minutes to write your essay. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the first 10 minutes to brainstorm it, to think about the questions, think about the possibilities, and then remaining 30 minutes are fair enough to write 250 words. Now technically 250 words is just 1.5 page. So when you're writing 1.5 page, it's very, very simple, it's very easy. It's not something that's going to take a lot of time as well, so it's going to be easy. So once you have your basic structure, your essay or your letter is going to be very, very formally organized. It's going to be very nice. So you will like it. At the same time, you have a lot of time to do the practice of reading the whole paragraph and checking it. You can do it. So basically, 40 minutes of time can be easily managed if you have a structure, if you have a habit of creating a layout. So please make sure that you're creating a layout. Please make sure you have the layout ready with you when you write. So keep practicing. And when you're practicing at home, what you do is you create a layout, you write your essay, get it checked, then go through a sample essay, go through a sample write up. So when you do that, what happens is you're easy. At the same time, you learn new words, you learn new statement formation. At the same time, you can just compare why is that particular student got an 8 and why, where did you lack with your examiner. So do a lot of qualitative work when it comes to writing, because the number of topics that you prepare is very important. But at the end, what you're going to solve there is going to be entirely different. It's not going to be the same, right? So please, please be very careful when it comes to referring the words, when it comes to referring the ideas. Any other queries? So structuring is very important, yes. Any other queries? Hopefully by the time I take the next webinar, I'm going to be absolutely fit as a fiddle. So this won't be a problem. And I'm really, really, I again have major apologies for this session, and in case there were any problems that were caused. So is there anything that I was saying and you didn't get it? Most of the times I was trying to be very, very clear and be good with clarity, but then in case there's a problem, please do with it. You can refer my previous webinars, our previous webinar, in case one of my colleagues has also done this. So they were on grammar. There's one on writing task one specifically, academic general different. There's one on essay, which is really good. So, I'll tell you how you study. Like, in case, let's say you're tackling a writing module. So, what you do is you can get these webinars pre-recorded ones on the site for your information. Go through one webinar that has, let's say you want to learn how to write a letter. So, I've taken 1 hour. I've just explained how do you write a letter, how is it marked. I know that with going webinars, most of this will be repetitive, but then it's very important because it will be just be imprinted on your mind. So what I want you to do is, let's say, go through a letter, go through the PPT, write a letter, ask somebody to evaluate it for you, check whether you've gone through the band criteria, then you can come back to this one. So this would be really, really helpful for you, hopefully. Any other queries? I don't think so. how to enhance my writing, any recommendation. There are a number of books that are really good with this. What I suggest my students is go through the samples at the back of your Cambridge books. They're really helpful. Some of them have a 6. So, when you read them, you'll actually realize why this particular student scored a 6 and why he hasn't scored an 8. And there's this box full of comments which the examiners have written, so they're really nice. Also, there's sample answers. There are a lot of online sites, but see, when you're referring online sites, you have to be really, really careful. Like the other day, I was going through a essay on a site, and one of my students, like, this guy's got a 7, and going through it, there's so many errors. The student wouldn't even have scored 5.5. So basically, I don't want to name anything. I don't want to defame anybody or demean anybody. But the thing is, they are bloggers, and everything on the internet is not genuine. So rather refer official sites. You can refer sites by the council. You can refer sites by the IDP. They have a lot of sample answers. We can go through them. Our site itself has a lot of sample answers. In fact, they're really well written, and I've gone through them myself. So they're quite nice. You can have a word. You can just go through them. Any other queries? I hope you actually understood each and every. I know there's too much of detailing here, and I was trying to actually just emphasize on the main points, but I can't help it. This is a topic that itself requires a lot of detailing, and you have to know the band descriptors in detail to get your 8. And there is absolutely nothing that I can do about it personally. It's just that something that you need to know and you need to focus. So I'll tell you, there's this writing band descriptors. You get it on the British Council site, where the same table, all 4 categories. So when you sit to write, and I say, keep this in hand and then write. So, you have this idea that, okay, and refer 8 bands, don't refer 7 bands, because once you attempt for 8 bands, you're going to get 7 bands. So honestly saying, when you keep referring those, your scores are going to be really, really elevated. So I really hope this works out for you. I hope you've done. I think I'm done with it. Any other queries you've got? I hope all of you score really, really well with it, and you're able to get this through, and you all pass with flying colors. Whatever your desired scores are achieved. That's a benediction from my side to you. And for any queries, you can come up to us with a tutorial site. We'll help you. I'll cater to you in that case. And writing, again, is a very, very important component. Please do not ignore it. Keep practicing, keep reading sample answers, keep checking on vocab, keep checking on grammar. Take it as a holistic approach. It's a chance to improve your writing and speaking. So please, please go through this in a very nice, positive way. Don't get stressed. I know, have a little bit of physical endurance when you're going through exam, because it's the third component. It's slightly boring, and we all hate the pen and paper. Most of us. I don't personally, but still, for those of you all who hate pen and papers, I know this is going to be a task for you. But please endure it. It's just 250 words. It's just 1.5 page that you have to write, and for a letter, it's just 1 hour. Please do it with a lot of focus, a lot of accuracy, and all the best for exams, guys. I'm signing off for the day. Have a great, great weekend. I hope you all benefit from this, and I hope all your queries are solved. You're much clearer, and you are going to write essays then better than ever before after this. Thank you so much.